So this trace table question uses the code on the previous page. We're to complete the trace table by identifying the missing values, so that's where the bold line is. We've got this new list array, and I've written out the original array in here, so 4212 and that number. Let's look back. First of all, we are looking for line 10, what happens to the position variable. We're looping through it one value at a time. Values index is not equal to the target, so it's not equal to 99, blah 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 blah, and set position to position plus 1. So we're going to add 1 to whatever the position was. Position was 0, so therefore it must now be 1. And it looks as if the line numbers are going backwards here, but of course that's because the program has a loop in it. So after it's done line 10, it's gone back to 7. So at line 7, index is being incremented, so that's now a 1, and that's reflected in the trace table already. Then we're looking at line 9, set new list, square bracket position, and of course we know that position was 1, so set new list 1 to values index, and we know that index is also 1 because we saw that in the trace table. New list 0 is the 42, item 1, so it would be 42, and instead of 0 it would be the next thing in the original list, which was 12. So we would have 42 and 12. Then line 10 again, and we know that line 10 increments the position, but let's look back anyway. So line 10, set position to position plus 1. So we add 1 to whatever the position already was, so that is now 2. Line 7, well, when we look at this before, line 7 is the start of the loop. So line 7, the loop is going round again. So index was 0, then it was 1, and this time round it would be 2. So that completes my trace table. Now it asks us to describe a debugging technique that could be used to check the values in the trace table. It wouldn't make sense here to say a dry run because we're effectively doing the same thing. And the trace table in and of itself is a debugging technique. So we could talk about a breakpoint or a watch point. And of course what that lets us do is to stop the execution at a particular line. So say I wanted to check what happens, I could stop the execution at line 10, and then I could inspect the values of the variables. So stop the execution at a specific point, or in the case of a watch point it would be when a condition is met. Lets you see the values, and then of course how do we use that with the trace table? You compare the actual values to what's in the trace table. And that's how to answer a question like that.